The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to today's role play session with your host, James McDonald.
Well, thank you very much, Andrea. I'd like to start, as always, by welcoming our participants to our Thursday role play session here. Thank you all for joining me, and I hope that you're eager to do some role play. Craig will be joining us here shortly, so he can weigh in on your universal callback script, et cetera, But I also want you to know that we can talk about any other element of the universal script or with the follow-up process as well. That's what we do on Thursdays here. The more of you that volunteer with your questions or volunteer to do role-playing, the better it is. And clearly, there are some of you that are really, really good with the universal script that have been volunteering over the past few weeks, and that's been fantastic. So, so anyway, let's do that, Andrea. Let's take some volunteers, and we'll just take as many role plays as time permits on the webinar here this morning.
Okay, and James, I'm having a little bit of an internet issue on my end, so if you lose me at any time, I apologize in advance.
No problem.
Okay, if you would like to role play, go ahead and click the hand icon you see on your webinar control panel. You must have a mic or be on the telephone. You can also type any questions or comments you may have in the chat box, along with saying you would like to role play. Our first guest is Nazira Jamal. Your computer mic is now open.
Hi, James. Can you hear me?
I can. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. What would you like to do this morning?
Well, I've got a couple of things, and I know I can only do one, but I'm working on my sync leads, but I've been having lately some trouble with the sign calls as well, and I'm not really sure how to deal with some of the stuff that I'm getting in terms of objections.
I see. Okay, give us an idea of what kind of objections you're hearing.
Okay, so from the sign call, when I go into the script and I go into the offer, and I say, you know, would you like me to email you daily updates? And they just basically say, oh no, I'm not interested. You know what, I'm just going to go through the listing agents. I'm only calling, you know, if you have a listing, then I only want to deal with that. So.
Well, this is where mastery really is necessary. See, the prospect doesn't understand why what you're suggesting is better than what they're intending to do. Right? And you don't really have a lot of time, but you need to be able to very quickly on your feet explain to them why what you're suggesting is better. See, if you're able to say really quickly, you know, Mr. Smith, you're only looking at properties that have already been overlooked by all the other buyers. That's the reason those homes are for sale. So any home that you see that you're calling on, understand that the reason that home is for sale and the reason it's still available is because all of the other buyers have ignored, they haven't bought it. It's not a great deal. What I'm proposing is that if you're notified of all the properties before they come on the market, or the second they do come on the market, you'll have an opportunity to beat out other buyers to the best listings. Are you certain that wouldn't be something of interest to you? It's absolutely free and there's no obligation.
Okay.
Like,
awesome.
if the prospect thinks that their way is better, well, then yeah, I would do the same as them. I would agree with them, right? I'm just going to, no, I'm fine. I'm just calling off of signs and I'm going to the listing agent. And unless I understand that there would be a better way than that, well, then I guess you're agreeing that that would be a better way. So this is where we've got to be prepared. And here's the thing. It doesn't matter whether it's a sign call. It doesn't matter whether it was an ad call. It doesn't matter where the prospect is coming from. That's a real objection. And it's not unlikely that many prospects, buyers, think that that would be the best way to go about it. But we have to be able to very, very quickly point out why the way that they're doing it is insufficient and the way that we're suggesting is far, far superior. But we got to do it quickly.
Okay. So maybe I'm not getting it out fast enough. Like.
Well, maybe. You know, and it also has to do with really articulating it slowly and clearly so that they really do understand the words that you're saying.
Okay.
Right. Like, here's the problem. If I make it sound like, would you like to receive daily emails of properties that match your home buying criteria from all companies? My list includes bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, other distressed sales. It's a free service, and you're never obligated. You know, I'm not hearing any of that. I'm not really listening. It's not. None of it is really clean to my brain, and I'm not compelled by that at all. So we've got to take what they're telling us and use that in our dialogue with them. You know, we got to have a conversation with somebody, not just say words into a telephone. And you know, the more you do it and the better you get, it'll obviously pay out in the results. So let's do a little role play, and I will call you, and let's see how this sounds. So yeah, ring ring.
Hello, is this
Hi,
James?
I'm calling about the property 123 Maple Street here.
Yes, James. Oh,
Okay,
sorry.
well, are you calling me or am I calling you?
Oh, yeah, sorry, you're calling me. Sorry, I'm on.
No problem. Okay, so I'm calling. Yes, I'm calling about 123 Maple Street here. Can I ask you some information about that?
Sure, sure.
Yeah. What's this property listed at? What price? And how many bedrooms does it have?
It's
Can you tell me a little
listed
bit about it?
Yeah, it's listed at $299 and it has 3 bedrooms. Are you looking specifically in this area?
I am right now.
Okay. Are you looking to buy in the next 3 to 6 months?
I don't know. I don't know why that matters. I'm just curious about the price and the bedrooms of the property.
Okay, yeah, it's at $299 and there's 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. Are you looking for a home in that price point?
Yeah, possibly.
Okay.
I'm just looking around right now, just gathering information.
What, do you rent or do you own right now?
We're renting.
Okay. And do you have a realtor to help you when the time is right?
No, we haven't gotten that far.
Okay. Would you like me to email you daily updates on listings that come on? Sorry, I messed that up. Would you like me to email you daily updates of homes that match your home buying criteria from all real estate companies? Our list includes any bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, distressed properties, as well as off-market properties. It's a free service, and you're never obligated to buy a home. Would that be of interest?
Maybe down the road. I'd really just be interested in seeing this property right now.
Okay. All right. When would you be available to have a look at it?
Anytime. I could look at it now.
Okay. Well, why don't we do this if I don't know how to handle that. Oh my gosh.
Okay. So, all right. So here's the thing: that's a good thing. All right. That means they need to meet with you. All right. And you've been instructed by your seller that you need to meet with the buyer before you set up a showing to open their door. So that's perfectly fine. Here's the thing. Okay. When you're asking these questions, you've really got to make sure that we're trading information so that we're not intrusive. We're not asking questions that will come off as being maybe a little bit abrasive to the prospect. They really have to be conversational, which is why the very first question really is critical, which is, hey, by the way, you folks planning on making a move the next 3 to 6 months? It's a great opening question to ask because you know, it's not a pressure question. It's just really easy for the prospect to answer that. I'm not saying, hey, are you looking to buy this property now, today, right now? Are you doing this now? It's a lot more, you know, an easy, open question. It's a probing question, but it's very conversational. And I noticed that you didn't ask it. So, and I would. I mean, it's it's a really nice opening question because it's a very low pressure question that gets the prospect sharing their moving plans with you. Now, you have to share information with the prospect. You can't just refuse to give them information about the property and pepper them with intrusive questions about, are you renting? Do you even have any money? Can you even afford this home? We need to trade off some information with them. And then don't assume that the property is not of interest to me. So you said $299, 3 bedrooms. Are you looking for something like this? Yeah. No, this is in line. So I didn't disqualify the property. Here's what you might want to do. You might want to say, well, look, if you're interested, I'd be more than happy to set up a showing for you to take a look at this property at your convenience. But what I could also do is I can set you up on an email where every day all of the properties in the area that match what you and your family are looking for, as they come on the market, they'll automatically be emailed to you right away in real time so that you'll be aware of them immediately. It's absolutely free. There's no obligation to buy anything, of course, but that would help you be notified of all the great properties. Would you be interested in that? I've said nothing about meeting with you, right? Nothing. I've mentioned nothing about meeting with me. But the prospect says yes. Then I say, great. When would be time to get together? I'll set up a showing. We can take a look at this property, and we'll set you up on the daily email service. It makes perfect sense. In other words, if the prospect wants to look at the property, that's even easier now to book the appointment because they have to meet with you if they're going to look at the property.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's a good thing. So here's what you want to work on. What you want to work on is, first of all, making sure that you ask that question, are you planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months? Very easy conversational question, the best first question to ask any prospect. Okay? Then what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're trading information. And you need to really practice the offer, really becoming well-versed at making the offer, making sure the prospect understands why what you're offering them is better than what they're currently doing. No matter what they're currently doing to look for a home, what you're proposing is far superior. And it's free, and there's no obligation to buy anything. This is a much better way. And if you need to, point out how what they're doing is a terrible way. Right? This property's been on the market for 72 days. It's received no action at all. All the buyers have overlooked this property. Now you're finding it. Congratulations, you found this property 70 days into the listing, and it's already been overlooked by the other buyers. But, you know, down the street there was a property that sold, it sold in 72 hours. Which do you think was a better deal? Right? Which do you think was a more attractive property? Which do you think was a better deal? Well, here's the thing. You didn't know about that property down the street. You were not aware that it was even for sale. You were not notified of that. Other buyers may have been, but you were not. That's because the way that you're going about finding a property is causing you not to be notified of the best deals as they come on the market. And I'm proposing that that automatically happen. It's free. There's no obligation. All you have to do is check your email every day, which I'm sure you do anyway. And any brand new properties that represent a great deal and match what you and your family are looking for will be sitting in your email inbox. Are you certain that isn't something that you'd reconsider?
Okay, that's brilliant. Just one question.
No, you can't. The only person that would say no to that is someone who's not buying something anyway.
Right. So when you're doing when they are interested, let's say, in the property and they want to view it, and of course you're going to make the offer, if they insist that they want to meet at the property, would you still go ahead and meet at the property?
No, because here's the deal. First of all, they are not going to buy that property. All right, now, I don't want to speak in absolutes, but it's a 99% certainty they're not going to buy that property. And you have discussed this with your seller at the time of listing, that with the seller's blessing, you would ask to meet with the buyer before you run out and kick the seller out of the house and set up a showing. Okay? So now you can say to the buyer, look, you know, my seller has requested that I very briefly meet with you before, just to go over the details of the property and set up the showing before we go ahead and set the showing. We can still look at it this afternoon, but it is their wishes. However, I will make it worth your while. While we're sitting down together, very briefly, I will take down your criteria of what you're looking for, get you set up on those daily emails so that we can begin emailing you those properties immediately as they come on the market. The whole thing is free. You're not obligated to do anything or buy anything or anything like that. And I'm nearby, and this can be brief. Do you have 15, 20 minutes this afternoon?
Okay, perfect.
Very good, James
Yeah.
McDonald.
Hey, there's Mr. Craig Proctor.
Yeah, well, the thing is we all know the success percentage, or should I say failure percentage, when we run out and we show a buyer a home. I mean, when I'm in front of a group of realtors doing a seminar, I always ask that question. What percentage of the time you drop whatever you're doing and you run out of the office, drive a half an hour across town, and show a property, what percentage of the time does the buyer say, yeah, this is the right one? Yet we continue to do it. And I can only assume that we continue to do it and continue to be frustrated because we don't know a better way. So what we're demonstrating here is a much better way. We can control our time. So, you know, they say the student appears and the teacher is ready. I think in this situation, James,
it actually doesn't go that doesn't actually go that way at all.
How does it go?
The teacher appears when the student is ready.
Oh, sorry, I said it the wrong way. I was just testing to see if you knew I was saying it the wrong way.
You are a teacher.
Okay. The point I'm making is when you become frustrated enough, that's when you're ready to change.
Yep.
Right. So that's really the point here. Is maybe you haven't had enough, right? Running out and showing buyers homes who never end up buying from you. You're not financially compensated. When you get to a point where enough is enough, that's when you're going to change your mode of operation. And for many years, I did exactly that. I ran around with buyers, and I'd drive home after wasting an hour and a half of my time, all frustrated, gripping the steering wheel, all mad at myself, but then do the same thing the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, James, I know you've got things that you need to tend to here this morning, so you do that, and I will take over here.
Excellent.
All right, thank you. All right, Andrea, let's see who's next.
Okay, our next guest is Evangeline Lynn. Please go ahead.
Hello?
Hello, it's Craig.
Hi, Craig. This is Eva, and I would like to do a bold lead.
Okay, so you're calling me. Ring, ring.
I'm calling. Hi, this is Craig.
Speaking.
Hi, Craig. This is Eva. I'm calling because you had requested for the value of your property, and I wanted to let you know that I'm in the process of preparing that for you, and I should have it to you by the end of today. Is that okay?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting a phone call from a realtor, though.
Oh, I understand. It's actually better than getting a computerized valuation, and that's why I'm wanting to make sure that I do a good job. So, Craig, are you folks planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months?
So you're saying you can't give me the value like you said, just by email?
Oh, yes. No. I will give you the value by email, and
Okay.
I will go ahead and send that to you by the end of today.
Okay, great.
And I was wondering if you guys are making a move in the next 3 to 6 months.
We are thinking about it.
Okay, perfect. And if you were to move, would you be staying in the area or moving out of the area?
We want to stay here in town.
Oh, okay, wonderful. So you will be staying in the area, and do you prefer, when do you think that might be?
We're just looking around. You know, we're not married to the idea yet, but I think if we found something that really excited us, we would go forward.
Okay, perfect. And do you prefer to buy before listing your home, or do you want to sell first?
Yeah, well, that question's a bit redundant now, right? Because what did I just say? You don't really need to ask that question because I just said that.
Oh,
right?
okay.
You asked me if I was thinking of making a move, and I said, well,
Uh-huh.
I think if we found something that really excited us, then we would take action on this. And then you asked me, would you prefer to buy first or sell first? So I don't think you need to ask that question because I just told you the answer before you asked it.
Gotcha.
Make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
And so if we don't want to sound like telemarketers, we have to listen to what the prospect is saying so we're not asking questions that they've already answered, because that's when they get frustrated. Because if you were to ask me that question as the prospect, I could say, well, Eve, I just told you, if we find something that gets us excited, we would do this, right? Because you're asking me if I want to buy first or sell first. So I don't think in that situation you need to ask that question because I've given you the answer already.
Okay. So a better question to ask is, do you want to do the transactions concurrently, or would you prefer to sell and then moving?
No, I mean I've already told you the answer, right? The answer is you asked me about my timing. You asked me if I want to stay local. I said I want to stay local, and I said if we find something that gets us excited, then we would probably take action on this.
Gotcha.
So I've clearly told you that I'm a buy first prospect.
Right. Okay. Okay. So do you have a realtor
an example of this is if you called me and I volunteered that I want to stay in town and I'm going to do something in the next I'm going to do something in the fall well, you wouldn't need to ask me if I want to stay local or move out of the area, and you wouldn't need to ask me my timing because I already volunteered that.
Right.
We're only going to ask the questions if the prospect hasn't already volunteered the information. Otherwise, the question's redundant, right? We already know the answer, and that's when they become frustrated. Have you ever had a prospect become frustrated because you're asking them information they've already volunteered? So I'm giving you all permission to not ask some of the questions if the prospect's already volunteered the information. The questions are there because usually they don't volunteer the information, and sometimes pulling the information out of them is like pulling teeth, right? So in most cases, you will have to ask all the questions. But if you called me and I said, oh, yeah, Yvette, you know, funny you called. My wife and I were just talking about this moving idea, and you know, we want to stay local and we want to do something in the fall. As soon as we find something we like, we'll put our home up for sale. We'll look at all the questions. You don't have to ask me now. Okay, so let's keep going.
Okay. Do you have a realtor to help you with that when the time is right?
We have the person that sold us this place has been in touch with us, and I promised her that I would meet with her.
Okay, and are you 100% committed to working with your previous realtor?
Well, no, I'm not 100% committed. I will meet with her, but I do want to speak with a couple of other realtors before we make a choice.
Gotcha, that makes sense. So Craig, would you like me to email you daily updates of homes that match your home buying criteria from all real estate companies? Our lists include any bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, or other distressed sales. It is a free service, and of course, you're never obligated to buy a home. Will that interest you?
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Okay, when can we get together for about 20 minutes so I can take down exactly what you're looking for?
Well, I can tell you right now, we're looking in such and such an area between this price range and that price range, and we need a 4-bedroom.
Craig, I want to do a good job for you. Rather than email you hundreds of homes which may or may not match your criteria or missing out on the perfect one, if we can get together for about 20 minutes, I have a form that I fill out and I can take down exactly what you're looking for. So would days or evenings be better for you?
Yeah, you know, I'm really kind of busy at work right now. I've got your contact info. Why don't I do this? I'll send you an email with what we're looking for, and you know, maybe when I've got some more time, I'll give you a call and we could talk about it further then. But to get started, at least you'll have a detailed list of what's important to me.
Yeah, Craig, you know, I understand you're busy, and my system is designed exactly for busy people like you. And it's very important that we do an accurate job of determining exactly what you're looking for. What we find is that by sitting down for 10 or 15 minutes, we can save you hours of time throughout the process. And remember, it's absolutely free, and there's never an obligation to buy. We're flexible. What would be a good time for you, days or evenings?
That was very good, by the way. That was very good.
Thank you. That was off the script.
Okay. Now, this is where at the fork in the road, because if the prospect keeps fighting you, what that tells you is maybe I really don't even want this prospect anyway, because every time I handle an objection with very good logic, which you did, I mean, you did a really good job of handling that objection, and your response was completely reasonable. So now we're at the fork in the road. You were completely reasonable. Now is the prospect going to be reasonable? So I'm either going to say, okay, great, or I may come up with another objection. Now here's the most common objection I've heard them say at this point, where you've really got them backed into a corner and you've been kind of bonking the prospect on the head with a logic hammer. What you're saying is very logical. They'll say something like this. Have you ever heard them say this? Well, gee, I don't know if I'm ready for this quite yet. Or I don't know if I'm ready to meet with a realtor quite yet. That's not a good sign. Now, if they say that, I'd probably call them back one more time to give them the benefit of the doubt. But really, if we can't get the prospect to meet with us when you've done a very good job with the script in a way has done its job. I mean, we want to get as many people to meet with us as possible. Don't get me wrong, but even if you've determined that I'm the type of prospect that's never going to commit to you or maybe commit to any realtor, the script, we can't argue the script has done its job, and you can maybe scratch me off the list and move on to the next person. So in this case, I'm going to say, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense. I don't want to waste a lot of time, and I certainly don't want to miss out on anything. So okay, we'll get together, but I need to check with my wife first to see a good time. So I'll give you a call back once I talk to her.
Okay, that makes sense. We want to make sure your wife is going to be there for the meeting as well. Well, Craig, why don't we set up a time, a tentative time that you can change if it doesn't fit in your fitting with your wife's schedule? Would you prefer days or evening?
Well, we both work during the day, so it'd have to be evening.
Okay. So evenings. Would this evening work for you, or Friday at 6 o'clock?
Well, tonight our kids play soccer, so it'll have to be Friday.
Okay. Okay. Perfect.
But, you know, you've really got this down.
Okay. Perfect.
You know, so the only thing that I had to say here is, you're very good at asking the questions, and we've got to be really good at listening as well. Okay. So every time we ask questions, okay, we have to understand we are perhaps even aggravating the prospect, right? So if there are times when you don't have to ask questions, especially if they're aggravated when they've already told us the answers. So the purpose of asking the questions is because we want to hear the answers. So what we've got to really do is not only become very good at asking the right questions, but we've got to be very good listeners. And I had this inside sales agent that worked for me once, and he would rattle through all of the probing questions here in the universal callback script. But my sense was he wasn't listening to the answers, because he was quite often asking them questions that they've already answered. And the prospect would get frustrated. And it makes this kind of sound like a telemarketer, right? Have you ever had a telemarketer call you and they say, yeah, we're wondering if you're interested in new windows, and you might say, well, I just got I got new windows last year, and they go, great or fantastic. You know, it sounds very scripted. So they want to think that we really are having a conversation. Okay, we don't want to sound like we're reading a script. So when the prospect volunteers information, and some of them will, you'll become really good at looking down the questions and saying, I don't need to ask this question anymore. I can skip right down to here because the guy's already told me he's staying local and he's not really going to do anything until he finds something. So I don't really need to ask whether he wants to buy first, sell first. I can go right down now to the next question. So and you'll get to that point with experience. But the point I want to make here is I want to give you all permission that we don't have to robotically go through each question if the prospect's already volunteered that information. The questions are there in case they don't, which most of the time they don't. But you did very good, and I really liked how you handled my objection of why do we need to meet, or I kind of made it tough because I didn't say I wouldn't meet with you. I said, for now I'm busy at work. Why don't I just email you what I'm looking for, and then I'll call you later. So I didn't say no, but you knew that it probably would be no, right? We know what happens when we go down that road. So you did a very good job, and I'm very, very happy with your use of the script and how you handled the objections.
Okay, I really appreciate that.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Let's go back
to
Andrea. Is there any questions at this time, Andrea, or comments in the chat box?
We do have one. It says, and it's from Thomas, how and where do you set up that daily email with prospective properties?
Okay, well, most of your MLSs will do this, right? Some of you use an IDX. It'll allow you to do that right away. So, for example, some of you have Commissions Inc. Some of you have the HDX through Success website. So on Monday, if you were on our helpline on Monday, we actually did our internet helpline, and we had Steve Raitt, and we had Christy Fillion with us, and Steve said what a lot of our members are doing is they're driving to a static landing page offering a list of properties, and when the prospect responds there, the the request is fulfilled through the HDX. Okay, now the only problem with setting people up on an HDX right away is if when you must call them back and use the script, and if they're not willing to come in and meet with you, you want to cut them off. You do not want to continue emailing them daily updates, because if you continue to email them daily updates, they're never going to meet with you. That's the hook. Okay, we want to differentiate between a one-time snapshot of what's currently on the market and them getting daily access. Now, if you Google real estate in your area, okay, if you all do that now, if your city, your town, your neighborhood, homes for sale, or if I Google the new market real estate or Toronto real estate, there are lots and lots of places where buyers can get free information. So you might be thinking, well, why do they want to opt in and get information from me when they can get information from everyone else? And a lot of the other realtors will just give away the farm. Here's why this works. Because the buyer's biggest fear is that they're going to miss out on something. So don't think that the buyers aren't doing that. They are absolutely receiving information from a bunch of realtors. They're all over the place in search of information. Okay, my niece recently sold her condo in Toronto. She was buying a place up there in Newmarket, and her biggest fear was she was going to miss out on something. So she was looking in newspapers and magazines. She was up till 3 o'clock in the morning on all these different websites. Now, real estate is, we have a bunch of realtors in our family. She wasn't going to miss out on anything, but that was her biggest fear. So that's why when we're speaking to a prospect, that we need to really lean on that we're going to give you immediate access to all these perhaps hard to find properties, right? Distress sales, bank foreclosures, pre-MLS listings. These are listings that haven't hit the MLS yet, which all of you have access to, right? You work in an office. There might be 40 or 50 other realtors. They're going to list homes tonight, and tomorrow you have, or even this evening, you'd have access to homes that aren't even on MLS yet. They could be homes that have recently expired off the market. They could be homes that are for sale by owner. It could be construction or pre-construction. So we have to make our list sound very unique. I'm going to repeat this again. We're leaning on the buyer's fear that they're going to miss out on something. So don't think, well, because my competitor's giving away the farm and they can go to his website, his IDX or her IDX, and get all the information, that they're still not going to respond to yours and probably 3 or 4 other sites, because that's their biggest fear. Buyers want houses. They don't want a real estate agent. Buyers want houses. If we flip that around, sellers want buyers. And when you're meeting with sellers, you got to be talking about, I'm the person with all the buyers. And you want to be assembling your list. Most real estate agents think sellers, they want to list their home. Sellers want an agent. No, they don't. When you're competing for a listing and you're up against other realtors, the other realtors are going to talk about, well, you should list with me, and if you list with me, here's what I'm going to go do. If you list your home with me, I'm going to go out and I'm going to look for a buyer. That's what they're talking about, is listing. They're trying to sell the prospect on, you should list your home, and here's what I would go do if you were to list your home with me. Okay, we're going to go and we're going to go look for a buyer. You're coming in, you're saying, look, I have a list of over 300 buyers. Should you decide to list with me, I've already got the buyers. I'm going to email information on your home immediately out to buyers in our database, and sometimes we get a hit right away. You see, sellers want buyers, and buyers want houses, and that's why these offers work. All right, let's go back and take our next role play.
Yes, sir. Our next guest is Philip Doyen. Please go ahead.
Hey, Philippe.
Hey, Craig, how are you doing?
Good. How are things in Montreal?
Good. Can you bear with me 30 seconds? I need to change spots.
Okay. Well, Philippe is changing spots. We welcome your questions and your comments. Go ahead and type those in. And of course, we probably have a few more role plays in queue that we
Okay, I'm back.
All right, Philippe, what type of prospect would you like me to be?
A buyer prospect with my new HDX site.
Okay. All right, so ring, ring.
Hello, may I speak with Mr. Proctor, please?
Speaking.
Hey, Mr. Proctor, this is Philippe with Group Mackay, and the reason I'm calling is because I received your request to search for properties on my website. Just wanted to let you know that you have full access and you can search away. Is that okay with you?
Oh, okay, so I'm going to get all the new listings that come on the market?
Well, actually, you can search on your own right now. You have full access, just like if you were a realtor. By the way, Mr.
Okay,
Proctor,
perfect. Just like I'm a realtor. Excellent.
Yeah. By the way, were you thinking of making a move in the next 3 to 6 months?
Yeah, maybe.
And if you were to move, Mr. Proctor, would you be staying local or would you be moving out of Montreal?
Yeah, we want to stay in the northeast part of town.
And when do you think that might be?
Well, you know, we'll probably do something either this fall or in the spring. I don't want to move during the winter.
And by the way, do you have a realtor to help you when the time is right, Mr. Proctor?
Well, it doesn't sound like we need one because you said I could search all the properties just like a realtor.
Yes, but would you like me to set you up on an automatic search so you would receive all the properties that would match your home buying criteria the day they get on the market? You know that in Montreal, the good deals go fast.
Well,
so
I thought that's what I was getting.
proposing,
You said I was getting access to all the new homes as they come on the market, just like a realtor.
yes, but what I'm offering you is to search for you with my automatic search engine. So you would get the properties on your email the day they get on the market instead of wasting hours of your time every day looking for properties and maybe not finding them. On top of that, I could set you up to get all the properties before they hit the market through various real estate agencies, properties that are off
I
the
don't
market.
understand. I'm sorry, I don't understand how what you're describing is different than the access you've already given me.
Well, basically, we know of properties before they hit the market. We have access to properties that are not on the market, properties that have been on the market, and
So
at a good price reduction.
You're only sending me homes that are on the market?
Well, you only have access to homes that are on the market. What I'm proposing to you is that you get homes that will be on the market, homes that were on the market, and homes that will not be on the market.
Okay, all right. So send those as well, please.
Well, I need to
send them all.
get your
You
home
send them all.
Yes, I'd like to do a good job for you, Mr. Proctor. So what I'm asking you is when would be a good time for us to get together so I can take down exactly what you're looking for? When do you have 10 or 20 minutes?
You know what I'm looking for. I already filled that out.
Yeah, well, this is basic generic features. I have a list that has over 100 criteria.
Okay. It's getting a little weak. What I want you to do at this point is I want you to say, Craig, I want to do a good job for you.
Okay, Craig, I want to do a really good job for you. So when can we get together so I can take down exactly what you're looking
let's
for?
Expand on that. Let's expand on that. I want to do a good job for you. Now, and why would you be able to do a better job if we meet?
Because I get a sense of what you're looking for exactly. We can discuss your criteria, and maybe you have a significant other that has an input to give me on that.
And what would be my fear if I didn't come in and meet with you? What might happen?
Well,
if I don't come in and meet, you want to do a good job, but if I don't come in and meet with you, what could happen?
Well, you can miss out on the perfect property.
Right. That's their biggest fear. We got to lean on that.
Okay.
Right, like it doesn't cost anything to meet with me, and holy cow! I mean, I don't want you to miss out on the perfect property. And do you remember what Eva said a few minutes ago? She goes, plus, you're going to save a lot of time. You know, instead of emailing you every new listing that comes on the market that may or may not match your criteria, by sitting down with you, not only will I make sure we're sending you the perfect ones, we'll also make sure we don't miss out on the perfect one. That's feeding right into that fear that they have, right? That's why they've signed up for your information, and they're probably on 5 other realtors' websites as well. Now, all 5 realtors are calling them, and they all, maybe not. Actually, I shouldn't say that because probably 2 or 3 of the realtors don't even call the prospect. That's a big mistake with IDXs now. The realtors actually believe the fish are going to jump in the boat. Oh, well, the buyer signed up for daily emails of all the homes, and when they see one they'll like, they'll just call me and buy it. Well, we know that that doesn't work very well.
Okay, so let me try the offer again then.
Okay.
So Craig, when can we meet 10 or 20 minutes so I can take down exactly what you're looking for?
Well, I thought I did that when I first requested this. It asked me what I was looking for, and I filled it all in.
Yes. Well, Craig, I want to do a really good job for you. So what I'm proposing is that we go in depth into all your needs, and instead of sending you tens or hundreds of properties that may or may not match your home buying criteria, or worse, missing out on the perfect one, my system is going to save you a lot of time, and only properties that match exactly what you're looking for are going to be in your inbox.
I wouldn't say my system will save you a lot of time. Say, meeting with me. I'm already on the system. Meeting with me will save you a lot of time, because now, and no one can deny this, no buyer could reasonably deny that sitting down and having a 15-minute conversation with a real estate agent about the biggest thing they're ever going to buy in their home, in their life rather, no one could deny that's a bad idea. How could the realtor meeting with the buyer and sitting down and having a discussion about this big purchase be a bad idea? It's a crazy argument, right? We know they're lying to us. Nobody in their right mind could deny that this is a reasonable step that should be taken before you go out and spend $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 or more on property. Like, it's very difficult for the buyer to come up with a sensible objection to that, right? It's bizarre for the buyer to think that that's not a good idea. And that's when you drop that, I want to do a good idea. I want to do a good job for you. I think you would agree, Philippe, by us sitting down and having a conversation about this, I'm going to have a much better understanding of what's important to you. If they say, well, what do you mean what's important? Well, you could say, for example, would you be interested in homes that have electric baseboard heating? Well, no. Well, then, see, I didn't know that, and I'd be sending you homes, and maybe you are, and maybe I'm not sending you those. How about homes with formaldehyde insulation? Okay. Would you be interested in homes that have aluminum wiring? So you could give them examples of your insider information, things that they don't think about that would be very important, and that spooks them. Right now, the prospect's thinking, gee, I didn't think about aluminum wiring. I didn't think about electric baseboard heating versus gas or oil heating. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about formaldehyde insulation. I would have a long list of things locally in your marketplace that are huge turnoffs for buyers, and say, well, look, I don't know any of this, and this is why we need to meet, because I have a long list of things that you may or may not be interested in. Anyway, thanks a lot for the role play. You've done a great job here, Philippe. But that's going to be your problem with HDX, okay? If you're using an IDX, you must successfully differentiate what you're offering versus what they're already getting. All right, let's go to our list here next. I think, Andrea, Ernest would like to volunteer to role play.
Ernest, your mic is now open.
Good morning, Craig.
Good morning, Ernest. How are things in Tampa Bay?
It's still raining for the last almost month every single day, but other than that, things are doing pretty good.
Well, I was in Sarasota at my place there for the last week of July, and it didn't do the normal thing where it just rains an hour and then it's sunny again. It rained all day for the entire time I was down there.
Yeah, it's
I got out of my boat for 2 hours one day. It was there's not often that I can say the weather in Toronto was way better than the weather in Florida, but truly it was the case because the weather here was beautiful the whole time I was away, and not so great there. Anyway, what type of prospect would you like me to be?
I'd like you to be a Facebook foreclosure ad prospect, but I do have one quick question before we start.
Okay.
I was on a call with Rick and Todd the other day, and they suggest trying to book appointments 48 hours or less from the time you speak to them, and I totally agree with them. How do you suggest you cut down on these people that want to book 5, 6, 7 days out? What is your suggestion?
Yes, time is not our friend. We all know that. I could cite you many, many examples of me being lazy with this and it costing me a lot of money. Okay, now, the prospects are usually very casual about this, right?
Yes,
whether they meet with you tomorrow or a week from now, since they usually really don't want to meet with us anyway, it doesn't matter to them.
Right.
Okay, the onus is on us to really try to get them motivated to meet with us now. Okay, again, time is not our friend. So let's say you talk to a seller today, and they said they're going to be listing their house in short order in the next couple weeks. If your listing appointment is a week from now, think of all the bad things that could happen. That prospect goes to work the next day, says, "Oh yeah, I've got a real estate agent coming over to meet with me next week," and their coworker says, "Oh well, my cousin's a real estate agent. You should meet with him or her as well." Okay, or how did you get a hold of them? They responded to one of your ads, so they continue to respond to realtors' ads, and another realtor calls them back sometime between now and next week. There's an example that really stands out. I remember talking to a lady that had an N-unit townhouse. This thing was going to sell very quickly. I knew that. And she said she wanted to list her home, and she sounded like she was, pretty anxious to get this going. And I was speaking to her on a Thursday night, and she wanted to meet on the weekend. And I had some plans on the weekend, so I pushed her off till Monday. Well, guess what I got on Sunday evening? I got an email. She'd already listed her home with someone else. Now, I'm not saying never take a weekend off, but I'm just saying we're punished for not trying to do our very, very best in motivating them to meet as soon as possible. So that's why I always recommend we give them the choices. What's better? What would be better for you, Ernest, this afternoon or this evening?
Right.
If we can't do it today, well, what would be better then, tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon? Well, we can't meet with you till next week. Well, what about the weekend? Is there any time over the weekend maybe we could get together? I could come early in the morning or as late as 7 o'clock.
Right.
Sometimes we just, despite our best efforts, we can't get them to meet with us any earlier. But I think that's the point that Rick and Todd were making, is we want to be making our best effort. Sometimes we don't.
Absolutely.
We get lazy with this, and we get punished.
And it seems to definitely be a problem mostly with buyers, not so much with sellers, but buyers are just, some are legitimately, they can't, do it in 48 hours, and others definitely seem like they're blowing you off. There's no two ways about it.
Right, and that's what we want to determine. Are they sincere about meeting with us? Okay. Do they have a real reason why they can't come in now or tonight or tomorrow morning? The other reason time isn't our friend is even buyers that actually do want to meet with you kind of forget, right? It happens.
Correct.
We forget things. So we can't assume every buyer that's a no-show, change their mind about you or meeting with you. Sometimes, life gets in the way and people forget things.
Very, very true.
Okay, so let's do a role play.
Okay. Ring, ring.
Hello?
Is Craig there, please?
Yes, this is Craig.
This is Ernest Van Glan from Exit Prime Realty, and the reason I'm calling is I received your request to have access to foreclosure properties in the Tampa Bay area. I just want to let you know you have full access to my site at this time. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's what I wanted, so thank you. Are
you looking to make a move in the next 3 to 6 months, Craig?
Yeah, we do. We probably we want to get closer to St. Pete.
Okay. Are you currently renting, or do you own your own home?
We own our own home right now.
Okay. And oh, you threw me off there for a second. I'm so used to the buyers just going straight through. Yeah, I rent, and I haven't had to sell one in a while. Can we just back up a little bit?
That's my job, is to throw you off.
I know. I'm so just programmed that the
Okay, so you asked me if I own or I rent, and I say I own.
And if you were to move, you're looking to stay in the Tampa Bay area, correct? You want to be in St. Pete?
Yeah, we want to get closer over to St. Pete. We're in North Tampa right now, and that's we have some family over there, so we'd like to get closer to them.
Okay. And would you prefer to buy first before listing your home, or do you want to sell your home first?
I think we would probably want to see what's out there anyway before we pull the trigger on this.
Okay. And would you like me to email? Oh, do you have a realtor to work with at the time if the time is right?
We have been going to some open houses. We met this really nice lady who has been showing us some houses.
Okay. Are you 100% committed to her?
Well, I don't know. I mean, she showed us houses. I wouldn't say, like, we haven't signed anything with her.
Okay. Would you like me to email you daily updates of homes that match your home buying criteria? My list would include foreclosures, distress sales, for sale by owners, builder buyouts, and other properties that are difficult to find on the market. Would that be of interest to you?
Yes. Now, this is very good. Now, believe it or not, even though I'm already getting this from you, some of the buyers will not mention this, even though I'm already getting them, right? I'm signed up for your HDX or Phone Line Commissions Inc. or whatever. I'm already getting information. Some of them will actually say, yeah, I would like that, even though, ironically, you've already sent them some daily updates on homes that match their criteria.
Right.
The most savvy of the prospects will say this. They'll say, well, I'm already getting that from you. Now it's up to you. Now it's up to you. You must differentiate what you're about to send them versus what they've got.
Would I get into that right here, or would I get to in the appointment?
No, you got to get into it right now, because I'm saying you're saying, when can we get together, because I'm going to send you all these daily updates.
Right.
And I'm saying to you, well, I guess I don't need to get together with you, Ernest, because you're already sending me the daily updates. If you don't differentiate what I'm about to get by meeting with you, then the answer will be no.
Okay. Craig, what I would be sending you now would be right now is what you're getting is a snapshot of what's on the market in the Tampa Bay area. This home buyer service is going to give you additional properties that as soon as they come on the market, you will get them, and they will include buyer build-outs, for sale by owners, distressed properties, short sales. Would that be of interest to you?
Well, couldn't you just send those along with the other properties you're sending me?
Here I'm kind of stuck. Where would you go with this? If he starts to fight me a bit, but although he seems like he wants to meet with me, how would you spin this?
Okay, this is when you want to go right to, Craig, I want to do a good job for you.
Okay.
Okay,
Craig,
look at once we go there, once we go to, we point out the obvious, right? That's the elephant in the room. Is like think about this. What you're offering the buyer is you're offering to sit down with the buyer for free and have a discussion about what they're looking for, so you can do a really good job in send them just the homes that match their criteria and not miss out on anything, right? That's reasonable. No buyer in the world, like, how many buyers would say, well, that's a dumb idea? It would be better if you never met me and we actually really didn't have a detailed discussion about this $1 million home I'm about to buy.
Right.
Right? I mean, the point I'm making is it's not real.
Right.
Their reasons they give you for not wanting to meet are not real. So we need to shine a light on that. We need to, once we shine a light on that and the buyer steps back and looks at what they're saying, it's unreasonable, right?
Correct.
That would be like you saying, calling your doctor and, like, I don't feel very well. And the doctor says, well, Ernest, you better come in and meet with me so I can give you an examination. And you're saying, well, it's only my health. Couldn't we just do it over the phone? Right? And the point I've made before is this same prospect you're speaking to tomorrow will take time off work to go get his teeth cleaned.
Right. That's so true.
Right. We know that, right? So the buyer who's going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a home, he doesn't have time to come and spend 15 minutes to speak to you about the biggest asset he's ever going to buy in his home, buy in his life, but he'll go take time off work to get his teeth cleaned.
Very true.
So we know it's BS. We know that the reasons they give us for not meeting is because of, as James McDonald says, there's two fears that they have. Fear of committing, right? If I meet with a real estate salesperson, they're going to make me do something or commit, and the fear that it might cost something.
Right.
Okay? What's the other fear that I talked about today? The fear that they're going to miss out on something.
Exactly.
So if you can address those fears, if you can say, well, look, Craig, I want to do a good job for you. And to do a good job for you, that means I'm not emailing you gazillions of homes, wasting your time having to search through homes that don't interest you, but also I don't want to miss out on something that would be perfect for you. You'd be upset, right, if you found out a home in the neighborhood you're really interested in and you didn't get information on that because I didn't really understand that that would be a home of interest to you. Meeting with me is free of charge, and you're never committed to do anything.
Right.
It's just I've been selling real estate for X amount of years, and this really is the starting point, is us sitting down and having a brief discussion of exactly what you're looking for, just so I can send you only the homes that are a perfect match and never miss out on anything. Ernest, when would be a good time? Are you available, say, later this afternoon or perhaps this evening?
I think this evening will work better. That's why my wife could be there.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're married, right? So I'm sure your wife is going to want to have some say.
Absolutely.
So we should set a time to meet with both you and your wife. So since you have a house to sell, why don't we set that appointment at your home? Because if I have a look at your house, I could also give you a real accurate assessment of what that would sell for. Because that's important, right? That'll feed into what you can afford on the buy end, is what your home is going to sell for. Also, by having the appointment at your home, I can have a look at your house and give you some tips on what to do to prepare it for a sale, to sell it for the most amount of money. We can talk about timing. When's a good time for you to do this? Whether to buy first or sell first. We can go through a net sheet to discover exactly what you're going to have in your pocket once the dust settles and you pay all the fees, and answer any of the questions that you have. That's in addition to having a detailed discussion about what you're looking for.
Right.
So you think that might work for you? Think maybe tonight we could perhaps get together?
Yes, tonight about 6, 7 o'clock would be good for me.
Now, either the prospect's going to succumb, right? Or they're going to say, okay, yeah, you got me. You've given me, 18 really good reasons why I got nothing to lose, and it'd be really dumb not to meet with you. Or even though you hit them over the logic hammer many, many, many times, the answer is still no. Now the script has done its job. Ernest, when you're on the phone with a prospect, and no matter how great a job you did handling one of their objections, they immediately come up with another, and then you handle that objection, and they immediately come up with another. What that tells you is there's a prospect that's not a good fit for you, because no matter what you do or say, they're going to continue to fight you, continue to fight you, continue to fight you, and that is part of the job of the script.
Right.
We don't want to have to work with people that are going to lie to us or fight with us or who are never going to commit. And that's why I said when we met at that very first super conference, I said, here's the way this program needs to work for all of you. We need to create the foundation of the program's market. We need to create enough leads for all of you that you have slightly too many buyers and sellers so we can blow off the prospects that jerk us around.
Right.
Okay? So when you're doing a really good job with the prospect and you handle an objection and they immediately create another and immediately create another, that's when you might say, your brain might say, you know what, maybe I'll follow up with this person one more time, and if they're still jerking me around, next. So you might want to finish this conversation with prospect, next objection, another one. You might want to say, well, look, Ernest, it doesn't sound like you're ready, quite ready to get together at this point. Would it be okay if I followed up with you at a later time?
Yes.
Sometimes they say no.
Right.
And I will respect that. I call this permission marketing. If you said no, don't bother. Or, you might say, well, Craig, I've got your contact information. How about I call you? Well, I still might call you again, but it's not a good sign. But if I said, is it okay if I follow up with you at a later time, and you said yes, what's my obvious next question? Well, when do you think would be a good time for me to do that?
Right.
And whatever time frame you tell me, I'm going to cut it in half and call you back.
Yeah.
Okay? So here's me calling you back. You said call me back in 3 months, so I'm going to call you back in a month and a half.
Right.
Hey, Ernest, it's Craig Proctor with ABC Realty. I was talking to you about 6 weeks ago, and I just wanted to follow up and see if you folks had any more moving plans.
Yeah, I think that we're probably a little closer to moving. Probably the next couple of months we'd like to make a move.
Okay, now last time we talked, you discussed the fact that you'd like to look around first before you put your home up for sale. Is that still the case?
Yes, we'd like to know, what the market is and how prices are going. If they're going up, going down. If we can find the right property, then I think we would list the house.
Okay, and I recommended in our last conversation that we should probably get together so I could take down exactly what you're looking for so we don't miss out on the perfect home. And at the same time, I could give you an accurate assessment of what your property would sell for. I could look at it and give you some advice on what to do and what not to do when preparing it for sale. We could go through a net sheet to discover what you're going to have in your pocket, because surely what you get will determine what you can spend on the other end. It's absolutely free of charge to get together with me. You're never obligated to do anything. Do you think that might interest you?
Yes, I think at this time it would interest me.
Right. Either yes or no, right? You're
Right.
going to find when you follow up with them, they either come closer to you or they push you further away.
Right.
So it's all in my mind, unless they're really belligerent on that very first phone call, it's always worth a follow-up call, because I made a lot of money from people that I didn't think were ever going to do business with me on the first call, who sort of come around on that second call.
Right.
All right, Ernest, good stuff. I hope that was helpful.
Thank you, I really was. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, we have a question here from Alexandra. She's left, so I guess there's no use going through that one. Let's see, our next question here. From Patrick. Some leads I get from my success website never open the emails I send. Any suggestions? I guess you call them back and you say, you ask why. Doesn't sound like they're that motivated. It's not a good sign. But most of the questions we have are only going to be answered by the prospect. So Patrick, I would pick up the phone and follow up with the prospects. What we don't want to get into is a situation where we're just emailing buyers' homes. You're not talking to them. They're not calling you. And weeks go by of you just emailing them properties. You see, it's very difficult to change the rules of engagement once that happens. Once the cat's out of the bag, it's hard to get the cat back in the bag, because cats don't like being in a bag. Okay, so if I email the buyer all the hot new listings for weeks and weeks, and then I follow up with the buyer and I say, well, look, when can we get together so I can send you daily emails of all the properties that match your criteria? Don't you think the buyer's going to say, well, that's what you have been doing? Right? Obviously, you're capable of doing it without meeting with me, because that's what's been going on for a couple weeks. That's why they need to be called right away if you've got them on an IDX. You see, they don't know they're going to get constant information from you the day they sign up. They don't know that. But 2 weeks later, they do. So it's very difficult to get them to meet with you when we understand that the big hook we're using to compel the buyers to meet with us is the fact that what they believe, or what we're telling them, is they're getting a one-time snapshot on day one, and if they want to get daily access, they need to meet with us so we can take down exactly what they're looking for. We want to do a good job. All that argument goes out the window when you have, in fact, every single day for weeks and weeks been emailing them all the homes that match their criteria. Just saying, it makes it a lot more difficult. And really what you're saying to the buyer is, you don't need me. Now, I know that's how most of your competitors operate. Many of your competitors may have dozens or hundreds of buyers that are getting information from them, but their conversion rate is pathetic. See if we've got some more questions here. Oh, Alexandra, I think she's back here. Okay, Alexandra, yes, Alexandra, you're back. Just type in, okay, yeah, she's back. Okay, so I'm going to go to Alexandra's question here. Craig, if they tell me they don't want a home with formaldehyde or something else, and they tell me they don't want those homes, how am I going to send them properties automatically? I'd have to look at the house that I send them. Well, your MLS should do this. Mine does. My MLS will have a field for formaldehyde insulation, and you check off yes or no. Okay, I believe the same case for aluminum wiring. So obviously, only use examples that you can fulfill. So I want you folks to look at your MLS and, you know, what are huge turnoffs? What fields can you control on MLS? That if you've got a buyer that's resisting meeting with you, that you could look at your MLS and say, well, look, I know a lot of buyers don't like this, or they don't like that, or don't like this. So these are a couple of examples that I can throw at the buyer over the telephone that are real examples. So the buyer's like, yeah, well, I never thought about that. Yeah, maybe it is a pretty good idea to meet with the realtor, because I wouldn't want a house that has this or that or this. And I didn't even think about that. It creates doubt, right? Now the buyer's thinking, gee, I wonder what else that's important to me that I'm not thinking about. Okay, next question is from Sherry. Craig, yesterday on the real estate post, in case anyone wants to see it, Frank and Brian reinforced what you say about lead conversion, and they said many leads never get a call when they raise their hands. Yeah. I was reading something, not in real estate, but about the car industry, and it was crazy. It was like 75% of buyers that call a dealership, a car dealership, inquiring about a property, never actually get a return phone call. That car salespeople don't really think a buyer is a real prospect unless they walk onto the car lot. That's the perception they have. Well, if they're serious, they'll come back, or they'll drive onto the lot. Well, a lot of real estate agents operate that way. It is like, this is why we do the role play webinar every Thursday. Is we have a very difficult time getting real estate agents to call the leads back, let alone say the right things. Now, you folks are aware that we work closely with lead generation companies, okay, like Bold Leads, like Commissions Inc. And when I talk to the founders of these lead generation companies, they say the number one problem they have in selling these leads to realtors is that the realtors won't even call the leads back. And if they do call the leads back, they mess them up. And then a week or two later, Bold Leads or Commissions Inc., they get a phone call from the realtor saying, yeah, the leads are no good. I said, well, welcome to our world. That's what we hear from members. I generated 150 leads last month, and all the leads suck. Well, probably not, right? So yesterday, I know one of our coaches, Lester Cox, did a webinar for the Bold Lead clients. We're helping bold leads, their clients, understand the importance of following up. Now, of course, they really want to learn how to do this. Lester said it's a good idea for you folks to come to the Super Conference. So was good promotion of our program. But yeah, that's the norm in real estate. Is biggest complaint buyers have is realtors don't call me back. And the reason realtors don't call buyers back is because nothing good comes of it because they don't know what they're doing. Right? Many realtors don't even return ad calls anymore because in their experience, and they're right, in their experience, they go show a home and the buyer never buys it. Okay, we are running out of time here. Anything else we need to address here, Andrea, before we wrap this up?
No, I believe we've covered everything.
Okay, tomorrow is Ad Clinic. So Andrea explained to everybody what they need to do.
Okay, what you need to do is go to the coaching website, and I'm going to do that right now. I've been having some internet issues, so I was staying off the internet, so I'm going to go to it now. Just give me 1 second. What you do is you go to the coaching site.
Hi, Susan Gastineau here, a fellow coaching.
Pause, Susan. Then go to Ad Clinic under Resources. You click Select Files under the Upload My Ads option, and you upload your files. Now, we cannot accept PDFs, and I know that's the way a lot of our members have their marketing saved. So you can email me a PDF at andrea@craigproctor.com, and I can load it for you.
Okay, good stuff. We've had a couple more questions come in, so we'll get to those in a second. So yeah, send us your ads. Send us your ads even if they're really working well. Because that's the irony with the Ad Clinic. Those of you that are really kicking butt, you think, well, I don't even need to come on the Ad Clinic anymore because I'm already doing well. Well, two things. Number one, hopefully I can show you how to maybe make the ad work even better, even though it's working really well. And it's encouraging to all of the other members who perhaps aren't doing well at their lead generation to see those of you that are doing well, not only see the ads, but see the results of the ad, how many leads you generated and how much money you made from it. So that would be really helpful to me and the other members for those of you that really get this and are really doing well to come on, even for a little bit, to kind of show off how well it's working.
Now, I'd like to mention something new while I'm here, if I could quickly. What we've been missing since we switched over to our new member site was the Ad Clinic archive. And I just want to let everybody know that is now up. It goes all the way back to April 17th. You can look at these past ads. And you've always been able to watch the webinars, but now you have access to the ones you may want to copy.
Yeah, that's a really big point. I'm glad that Adrian has it up and going. So let's say, next week you want to run a bunch of Facebook ads or editorial ads or whatever. All you have to do is go back and look at all the past ad clinics. You can look at all the ads that were submitted, all these great examples that were submitted over the last few months. Right there at the click of the mouse. And there they are, ad number 1. Okay, a couple more questions here. Sherry is asking, Craig, back to Steve Wright's information that the prospect can go to our landing page and get their own list. How can we cut them off if they keep going to the landing page to get the list via HTX? Well, I think, look, you want to call them back right away. And if you take them off and they go back in and they sign themselves up, you're going to call them again. And eventually they'll get sick of signing themselves up if you keep cutting them off. And worst case, if you kept them on there, doesn't really hurt you, but you probably know they're never going to be a client of yours. Next question is from Eric. Eric says, how might you respond and move past a statement from the buyer like, hey, I'm already getting the same thing from Zillow. How is what you're offering me or sending me different? Well, that's where we've got to be creative here, Eric, because if we say, well, actually it's not different, then there's no reason for the buyer to meet with you. So what might be different about what we could offer? You could say, well, look, I can offer you difficult to get information on properties, okay, or hard to find properties. For example, I can get you information on pre-MLS listings, which is true, right? You could get information on properties that aren't on MLS yet because you're in an office with a bunch of agents that are out there today listing homes that aren't on MLS yet. You could get information on homes that have recently expired or even expired off the market years ago. You could get information on for sale by owners. You could get information on new construction or pre-construction. Okay, how about information on some of the pre-MLS will be your own listings, right? When you list a home, I know in Toronto, if I list a home today, I've got 48 hours to broker load it. So, Eric, I could say if you're in my buyer database and me or anyone in my office lists anything that it matches your criteria, I'm going to get you priority access to that listing before all the other buyers and all the other realtors even know about that listing. And again, what's the downside, right? We're saying it's free of charge and no obligation. So the buyer should be thinking, well, I guess there's no downside. I can still get all this information from Zillow, and I can get Eric's information. It doesn't cost anything. There's no downside. And the difference is because now you've met with this buyer and you've signed them up to a buyer agency agreement. The truth is you don't care who they're getting information from at that point. You don't care how many realtors are contacting them because they're all too late. That buyer is being represented by you. Okay, I think we've got one final question here. This is from Eva, who did our role play earlier. Question: on a home evaluation request, if the prospect immediately says, I'm just curious about the value, I don't plan to sell for at least a few years, do we still try to sign them up for the quarterly newsletter? Well, I would follow them up one more time to make sure they're being truthful with you, Eva. So I would say, okay, well, it sounds like you're not going to do anything for the next year or so, but would it be okay for me to follow up with you at a later time? And if they say no, then I probably wouldn't follow up. And if they said yes, I'm going to follow up in half the time they tell me, hoping that the next time I talk to them, it's a different conversation. Okay, well, folks, we are out of time here for today. I want to hope that all of you are going to be with us tomorrow. I believe, is Todd going to be with us as well, Andrea?
As of right now, I believe so.
Okay, all right. Well, if not, I will be there anyway. So we'll see everybody on the ad clinic tomorrow. That's at 8 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. here on the East Coast. I hope you guys enjoyed our role play today, and I look forward to speaking with everyone tomorrow. Thank you very much, and Andrea, thanks for doing a great job as always. And that concludes our role play webinar.
Thank you, Craig. Everyone have a wonderful afternoon. We'll talk to you all tomorrow.